Well, hey, it's Romania Black, and it is hot and humid outside, but you know what is even hotter and probably more humid? The finale of Core 2 of Bleach Thousand Year Blood War arc, and we are watching count them, 3 episodes today, because we are finishing out Core 2, getting ready to start Core 3. My dogs are probably fighting over bones. Excuse them. I gave them a bone before recording this, and then they always chase each other afterwards. I'm like, what scraps are you chasing? So I've got some comments to talk about with y'all before we start this episode set, but I'm pretty excited, especially because when we left off, the Quincy's are going to where the Zero Realm is, where the Spirit King is, where Squad Zero is, and Ichigo is stuck back now that he's gotten back to the Soul Society, the Sarate. It just flips-flops, you know? So let's dive into these comments, though. These comments that y'all have left me, because I have quite a few to get to. I know, my dogs. It's raining outside, and so my dogs are a little restless. So, Jack Witt, G9P. I actually have 2 comments from Jack. One is from episodes 18 and 19, and one is from episodes 20 and 21, but we will get to his from 20 and 21 at the end of this segment here. For episodes 18 and 19, though, he said, the club outside trivia, according to the Q&A 185, James was the true holder of the superstar, and Mass Demasculine was the manifestation of what James considered to be his ideal hero. Which is why they told you to go for James first when you started this, and everybody picked up on that too late. So according to Q&A 946, the Quincy's afterlife and Soul Society are connected someplace close to hell, so travel between the 2 realms is possible. I will say, part of Kubo, I love Kubo's creativity, I love his character building, I love his character work, I love all the creative elements of everything he does. One thing that has been noted about Kubo that you can ask any reader of the Big 3 back in its heyday is that Kubo is not... He's not the best at doing, the world building, like the power systems, yes. The power systems and the connection to Zanpakuto, but I'm talking, the whole... I feel like his entire world building is probably the weakest element of Bleach, because, they mention hell, at the very beginning of the manga, in this. Did they ever really, other than that anime movie that, was kind of filler, kind of not filler, that came out back in the day, he didn't really go too far into that, and I was always kind of like, are we ever going to touch base on that? And he's just kind of like, don't worry about it. We're worried about the heavens, we're not worried about the hells. But it always made me go, are we ever going to touch base on that? So... But whatever, it is what it is. That is interesting, though. Alex Johnson, for episodes 20 and 21, did some clarifying. To clarify about Yachiru, she does not have a Zanpakuto spirit. The purpose of Isane's inner monologue was to highlight there was something very strange about Yachiru's power. This was meant to foreshadow the fact that this wasn't an actual Shikai. Yachiru is simply manifesting part of her natural abilities as the spirit of Kenpachi's Zanpakuto. And we talked about that a few weeks ago. Kenpachi's whole thing is that he's able to cut anything. So Yachiru's ability is an extension of that idea, where even if her opponent dodges the blade, they still end up getting cut. As we've seen with many different characters, a single Zanpakuto can possess a variety of different abilities, but the wielder must be able to train to learn them. Now, I still maintain that I don't know how I feel about Yachiru kind of just becoming his sword and kind of disappearing from the story. I kind of feel about it like Unohana. I'm like, Kubo's just deleting characters left and right because he doesn't want to write about them anymore. You could say that. But I do like what Alex Johnson says about this, saying Kenpachi has only recently obtained his Shikai, but the ability Yachiru used is something Kenpachi should be able to learn if he trains enough. Look, we don't need to make him more OP. After Grimmy's fight with Kenpachi, after everything that Grimmy and Kenpachi just did in their battle, to reveal the aspect that Yachiru could unlock even further abilities for Kenpachi is absolutely insane. But I like it. I like that concept. Mainly I'm bitter because I really liked Yachiru and I really liked Unohana, and I'm bitter because they're not in the story anymore, and I don't like that. So you're just gonna have to, everybody's just got to I'm the grumpy penguin at the table. I want Yachiru and Unohana back, and I'm like, that's me. That's me whenever it's brought up. But be happy. Thank you, because occasionally when you have a series that is spanning over 66 volumes, you forget a name or two sometimes. And Be Happy was like, the game playing Fullbringer is Yukio. Yukio. I do think Grimmy and Yukio look very similar. They have very similar designs. Then for episodes 20 and 21, we have Jack Witt. They had a couple of things here, and Be Happy kind of moderated through them. Some of the parts I couldn't read because they had spoilers, but this was the parts I could read. Jack Witt says, my only theory on why Giselle did not use the zombie on Kenpachi and Ichigo is their sheer Raitsu would have protected them as it did in Kenpachi's fight with Ichigo from Ichigo's sword strike, and Aizen's did from Soifon's Suzumabachi in fake Karakura Town. Shinigami battles are battles of Raitsu after all. That would make sense. That checks. Regular trivia. In Ryogo Narita's short story, Beginning of the Revive of Tomorrow, it's revealed that Shaz Domino was another one of Grimmy's creations, like Guana Lee. Like, the fact that Shaz Domino was a creation of Grimmy is crazy. Personal note, I forgot to post this one earlier. Zaraki's mental limiters were first established in Ryogo Narita's novel Bleach, Spirits Are Forever With You by Aizen, before Unohana made the same conclusion in the manga. Oh, that's interesting. Well, of course, Aizen noticed it before everyone else. According to plan, right? Nozarashi means weather-beaten one. Viz says weather-beaten, which we talked about in the episode. And then Club Outside Trivia. According to Q&A 419, when Yachiru and Zaraki first met, Yachiru touching Zaraki's Zanpakuto upon him questioning her origins was Kubo's attempt at foreshadowing Yachiru's true nature, which is pretty damn good foreshadowing in hindsight. Like, I feel like a lot of us wondered if that was the case and maybe there was a connection, but just to have that there in blatant sight is pretty damn impressive. According to Q&A 228, Kisuke installed a cover on the outside of Orihime's hairpins to make them difficult to break prior to them entering the final battle. Well, that's good. That's good to know that her hairpins are not going to strain quite as hard. Good job, Kisuke. Aside from her egregious wardrobe, glad you were making some functional practical tech. According to Q&A 525, the overall ranking of the Bambis in regards to hand-to-hand combat is as follows. Lil Toto, which makes sense. She's going to eat you, and that's about it. Meninas, okay. Which surprises me that Candace and Giselle are better, because Meninas is like, the power. Then Candace, then Giselle, and then Bambietta. Okay, interesting. The overall ranking of the Bambis in regards to Blut proficiency is as follows. Lil Toto, getting all the shade. Giselle, Meninas, Bambietta, and then Candace. Oh, maybe is Lil Toto like the best? Greater than? No, I think that's the worst. Interesting. Okay, well, Candace did dodge the nuke that was Ichigo's Getsuga Tensho, so that makes sense. According to Q&A 819, the reason Grimmy could be sealed by Yuvok and never tried to rebel is because Grimmy could not imagine himself winning against Yuvok. Thus, Grimmy could not do anything. That's pretty impressive to not be able to imagine yourself winning, which I wonder if he faced Yamamoto, if he would have the same run-in as he did with Kenpachi and Yuvok. That's an interesting question. We may never know. But anyway, I have really enjoyed y'all's comments on the Bleach episodes. It's so nice as someone that loves Bleach and has grown up with it to be able to talk to y'all about it finally. I have a feeling that when we get into some of the more questionable parts of Bleach, we'll have much to debate about, because there are some things with Bleach. I love Bleach. It's one of the manga that I grew up with, but it is not perfect. And I'm excited to talk about those not perfect moments with you. And maybe as I've grown older in my years, I will not look upon it as harshly as I did back then. We shall see. And maybe they've made some edits to make me not be so harsh on it. We will see as well. But we have episodes 24, 25, and 26 to get to. So I've talked for 9 minutes. We don't need to waste any more time. Okay, so as you know, I will be watching episodes 24, 25, and 26 in a sequence. I will stop long enough to restart the timer, all that. And then if there's not an end credit scene, we might skip to the next episode until the very last and watch the end credits there, but we'll just see how it goes. So we're going to start Bleach episodes 24, 25, and 26. Whoo, buddy! And we're going to be doing that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do it to it. Ooh, got my tea ready to go. Let's do this. Oh. Oh. And Waco Mundo. Oh. 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 Oh, wow. Look at him there. I don't know if I would trust him either, to be quite honest, the way he talks. Ooh. 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 That would also be Rayo. Oh. Well, this is rather complicated, though. Ichibei. Ooh! Oh. Oh. Oh my god! Why is the guy with the guns? Oh. Oh. Ew, I don't like the 4 eyes at all. That's so gross. Ooh. Oh, and like the blute there. Oh, that's so creepy. Oh. Oh. Is he the Soul King's son? What is that? Oh my god. Oh. So are they gone now? Oh, bitch. I forgot about this even being a thing. Is your arc all about daddy issues? Wow. I never had a father, too. What are you talking about, Hushwald? I mean, he's like, my daddy left me and abandoned me. Why would I care? Sorry, I actually have a great relationship with my dad. And Uryu's over here like, I'm not really estranged, but I felt like I have been. So, are we going to try to combine all the worlds? That would explain what Hiyori is trying. Hiyori's been doing all this work! Oh my god. They feel like the soldiers that are in Hellsing Ultimate, which is kind of fun. Oh! Speaking of which, girl! She's like, mine have better drip. Oh man! That felt all new! I don't recall any of that from the manga. Not a single drop of that from the manga. I don't even recall Yuvok being his son. Ooh. I don't even remember that. Maybe I was too far gone at that moment. So, okay. Man, lots of daddy issues in this show. Ah! Uryu got recruited because of his estrangement from his father. Yubak and Hashval, they're like, we can relate, dude. Come join us. Come join us in the Estranged Sons Club. And then Ichigo has a great relationship with Ishin, so he can't join the club. There you go. There you go. Oh my god. I love it. I want to see more of Halloween Town with KG9. Can we have that? Oh man. Meanwhile, Aizen and Urahara are like, we have no dad issues. Oh man. I'm gonna be interested in looking at the manga in this. Oh my, oh my. A pig? Oh, Ginju! Ichigo's cousin, as it would be. Ah! No pigs in here! Ganju! It's so weird they have the same voice actor for him. Oh, it's you. Oh. Your older sister. Ah! It wasn't me. Man, looking at him, it's like the Ishin bloodline. Aww. Dude, it's a practical family reunion. I feel like his Japanese voice doesn't quite match with how Buffy is, but I like it. Kisuke. Why not? Let's let Ganju go. Why not? Of all people to go with, Ganju's going to the royal palace before Aizen. Ganju Shiba made it to the Soul King before Aizen. Let it all sink in. Let it all sink in. Byakuya, my love. Oh, I love Reggie's hand like reaching out. I wish I'd stopped my son from writing in a notebook. Hell yeah! Oh my god, Mayuri! You bitch! I love you. You habaha. Oh, I thought she was like looking over at Hushmaltz. So, lots of questions. Ooh. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh, this guy. I forgot about them. Yeah, Nyanzel. Ooh, I love that. The two tongues is wild. Oh, crazy. That's up backwards. Love it. Ooh. Oh. Oh, I love her voice actress so much. I love this voice actress. She's so good. Did Mayuri base Nemu off of her? Is Nemu their love child? I feel like the Great Weaver. I feel like he totally based Nemu off of her. Oh my god, Ganju. Oh my god. You're going without even knowing, dude. Oh my god. Yeah! The self-proclaimed expert. I'm just not familiar with the small details. Mm-hmm. A godlike being. You know. Interesting. We're not worried about hell. Man, hearing Yaruichi's Japanese voice actor is interesting. Or he has just unresolved daddy issues. Oh. Ooh. I mean, is Yuvok going to replace him so that he can combine all the worlds and do whatever he wants? Back then Yaruichi was a cat, but you know, what a world. And Uryu was with us. We've swapped Uryu for Ganju. He's like, I don't remember him being there. Ah! He's gonna be a bitch about it. Of course. Aww! Go get your cousin. Go on. Oh, bitch. Ah. Here's the troop that came. Oh, God. I do remember the one with the blonde hair. Oh, yeah. He's a sniper. Yes. Lily. That one. Don't remember Pernita. Hi, Askin. Yeah. Oh, God. It's Holland. It's Erling Holland. The Quincy. Yes, Gerard Valkyrie. I forgot about him. Oh, my God. Oh, bitch. Oh! Is this where Komamura's Bankai came from? I forgot what the little one does. I'm glad you can speak. You can understand him, Lily. What the fudge? Oh, bitch. Such good drip. Oh, I love it being green. The fur looks so good. Boots with the fur. Oh! Oh! Oh, I don't remember that! What? Surely not. Surely not. There's no way. She ain't going down that easy. Well, that was easy. Oh my God. Wow. Well, you know, he does have a great look. Love it. Yes. I was like, I don't remember her getting headshotted. Well, hello. Oh. Ooh. Ha! The Ginyu Force is here. A womb. Girl. Yeah, I don't think that's going to help. The X-axis. Mmm. That's wild. Oh, nice. Because you're just feeding it. You're just giving it more food. Challenge accepted. Ah! My bae! The north. The south. Uh-huh. So then the west is... Oh. Yes! Oh. Love it! Oh. Oh. Now, let's not be that way. Not too much. Oh. Oh. What you talking about? Him and Urahara would be insufferable. Well. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh! Oh! Of course, they can't all just die like that. There's no way. Oof. Oof. Oh. Oh. Oh, he's so creepy! Oh, the soundtrack of it just... Oh. Rising. Osho. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, Osho's creepy. Osho is creepy. He really doesn't like you saying his name. Oh, wow. Monica Osho. Ooh. Ooh. Nice. Okay. Do we have any extra scenes? One. And
I think we do.
Go. All right. We're going to go to 2355. All right. We're at 2355. Oh, that is the next one. Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to stop it. And we're going to start episode 25 here in 3, 2. No, Osho is terrifying. If Shunsui thinks you're scary, then you are scary. There is no way around it. He just gives off such a creepy vibe. Uh, oh. Oh. The cat hag. Mm. Oh. Ooh. I don't think he would. Oh, yeah! Oh. Oh. Hmm. Yes, the 23rd head, the head of the clan. Ooh. Now, Urahara is a trickster and a conniver. But he's always got a plan. He's always a step ahead. He just doesn't want you to know it. That's the thing. Mayuri wants you to know that he's a step ahead all the time. Mayuri wants you to be well aware that he has outdone you before you even can contemplate outdoing him. But Aizen and Urahara, I feel like Aizen is sneaky about... Aizen waits for the right moment to become like Mayuri. He will keep everything like cards to the chest until it's time to reveal them. But then he has like the Mayuri fanfare of, oh, I tricked you. Oh, all according to plan. Urahara will never tell you that he's been ahead of the game the entire time, even when he has been for like the whole series. He won't ever tell you. And you'll never know until it's too late. And he won't bring it up. You'll just be like, son of a bitch. And he's like, that's kind of what I love about Urahara. But I love that even though Hiyori is beloved by Urahara, like he went to great lengths to save her, she still doesn't quite trust him. Interesting. Whew. So yeah. Where was Grimjow in all this? Wasn't he supposed to be in this? Oh. I love that Osho has the calligraphy brush as his sword. Creepy. Creepy as hell. Where's Grimjow? Wasn't he in Waco Mundo with them? I don't like that. Don't say my name. Oh. Which one of you is it? I love that Uryu's in the shadows and Hirschfeld's in the light. Is it suggesting that Uryu is a deceptor? Oh my god! Is that his domain expansion? Ooh. Oh, bitch! For someone that names everything. Okay, does he have the arm of the Soul King? Does he have one of them? Oh! I feel like he has the Soul King's hand. I feel like he has the arm of the Soul King. Like, we're gonna get to these body parts. Ah! Oh my god. Oh! But he shot himself with it. Ooh. Ah! Oh my god! That's terrifying! I love Uryu in the shadows. Oh. I love that he has a sword too. Oh. Oh. So how did that happen? Oh. Mystery adjacent. Oh, Hoshfault, my love. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh. Man, you and Stark would get along great. Ugh. The death dealing. Oh. He's like, what? He's like, I should have majored in pharmacy, I know. Oh. 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 Oh, I don't like that at all. Vampires! They're all vampires! Every single one of them! Ah! Ah! Ooh. Oh. Oh my god, that's great! Girl! Oh, love it! Oh, I love her. Love it. Oh, he's got the shield, the sword, and the shield! Yay! Because he's the balance. Oh! Oh, the animation's gorgeous, y'all. Oh. No. What? Oh my god, I love this. Dude, you and Stark would have gotten along so good. Ugh. Ha! Ew, all the blood and cutting is so gross. Blech. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. Ah. Oh my gosh, it just spurts out. Remember when they were like dead already? Oh, forgot about that. Sup? Oh, bitch. Am I cool or what? Oh, Etsu, you will always be legendary. Ugh. I don't think he dies yet, though, so... Oh my god, she's toying with him. She's so bitchin'. I love her. Ugh. She's like, I can see why Mayuri liked you. Ah. Has it? Yes, has it? Terrifying. Fighting in front of this floating Viagra pill. Oh my god. It cuts names. An R. Oh my god, that's such a crazy ability. His voice sounds so familiar, actually. I feel like he's been in a lot of things. Oh my god. Couldn't be this easy, though. Oh. Now he's just gonna play shuffleboard with him. Stop monologuing. Oh, wow. Him as the leader of the Soul Reapers. The Vizards. Look, there they are. Viscerid. A womb. A womb. Is that Giselle? Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. There you are! Little Toto! Oh my god! Oh. Shut up. I killed him. Oh my god. Ah. Hmm. Ooh. Oh my god, I forgot. Oh, we're gonna things to talk about. Quit monologuing. Why do y'all monologue? Unless you're Eisen, you don't get to monologue. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Oh! Just that. That's all. Oh my god. Well, hey, remember how he didn't bring you guys up with him? Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, wow. Well, yeah, about that. Yeah. Oh, shit. What's Hushmouth gonna think when he knows that you sucked up his boo? Mind if I go for a walk? He's going for a very long walk. Oh my god. Uh-oh. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Oh, I love that. I love the little things. Oh. 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 Yeah. Unnecessary Quincy's. Oh. You know, I would feel Uri would be very upset about this, but the scales have tipped. Oh. Oh, okay. The question is Basby and Lil Toto okay? And Giselle and the others. Okay, we're going to go to 2250. I want to see the scene before we move on to the next episode. Did Basby and Lil Toto survive? What about the Bambis? Ugh. Hmm. Uh. thinks we suffered enough? Oof. Black. Okay. Uh-huh. Technically, Will Hoshfeld died, but Uryu hadn't died. He was just kind of like, there he is. Okay. So then we have episode 27, or 26. I have so much I want to say. We're going to start that here in 3, 2, 1. Oh, I have things I want to say. We're not ready for them yet. Damn. Okay. Uh-huh. Conveniently took care of a lot of Quincy we didn't need anymore. You know, good for you all to be ready for Pride. I noticed that Hoshfeld and Uryu do not have their little wings, wingalings. Oof. Yeah, well, that does fit the motif with him. The idea this is all about a man with daddy issues is just crazy. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, show. Oh. Black! That's all we need to know. That's all you need to know. Okay, we have to savor this OP. This is the last time we get to see this OP. This is one of my favorite OPs of all the Bleach episodes. Of all the Bleach OPs. This is up there with them. I freaking love this OP. I mean, up there with Scandal, up there with Rambo Melody. It's right up there with them. Up there with Change. Yeah. I love this OP. I wish we could see more of Uryu's inner conflict. The anime versus the manga is doing an interesting job of handling Uryu in slightly different ways. And I'm not mad at it, but I do wish we could see more of... I know they're building it up with Uryu. They're building it up. You know that they are, but it's like, I felt like at least with the manga, you kind of knew where Uryu was coming from, whereas he is more mysterious in the anime adaptation, so he's a lot more mysterious, and you don't quite see the cards on, you know, his sleeve like you do in the manga. And maybe that is intentional. We're gonna talk about it. What a great OP! Damn good! Honestly, Grain King, girl just makes things. Oof. Damn! Oh, he looks so good, though. Like, his wings look like Swiss Army knives. Mmm. Oh. Oh. Oh, shit! Oh my god! Oh, wow. Oh my god. Oh! Oh. Girl! Damn. Oh my god. Ooh. uh. Meanwhile, uh-huh. 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 So where's Hashvalt and Uryu? Ah! Love it. Love it, girl. Yes. She's like, I got this red string of fate right here for you, dude. What an odd thing to say. Oh. I liked it. Okay. Again, we're going to talk about some inspiration. I don't know what he looks like underneath that. What a great matchup with him and the blood, and then he can replace his blood. What a great matchup. I've always found, like, Askin's wings look like little molecules. It's kind of cool. No! You're a fatally bad matchup for me! Exactly! Oh. So what about Uryu and Hashvalt? He's so scary. Osho is really scary. He creeps me out. Oh my god. I thought that Yamamoto had ego, but Osho. Oh! Just that! Just a secret hotto, no big deal. Oh! Oh! Oh. I see a red door and I want to paint it black. Oh. Ichimonji. Ah. I love setting up the animosity between these two. Don't assume anything! Oh. Oh. Mmm. Wow. Interesting, because we talked about Yuvok getting a name. Oh. Oh, shit! That was actually really funny. Like, my dude, Kirby! What are we doing, Kirby? Is it Kirby? Did Kirby become a Quincy and we just didn't know it? Oh, damn. Oh. Oh, Askin! You're legendary. Never change. I kind of love Askin, though. I, like, dude, my dude. I kind of love him. Why is it green? To the funky guy back there. Oh, shit. Ooh. Again! Oetsu and Urahara, like, Urahara clearly learned from Oetsu, somehow. Oh. 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 Meanwhile, Hoshwell and Uryu are playing chess. They just played chess at this point. They're like, you guys done? Did you guys get this done yet? Ooh. Oh, wow. The black. Oh, wow. Him without the black ink, making his beard white. What just happened? Ah. That just, like, happened. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All right, fine. We'll get up. Oh. Oh. And she just like wheels over there. Do 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 do. Girl. Oh. Oh, that shot's gorgeous. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's crazy. Y'all in a cult? Oh, bitch! This is some Puella Magi Monica shit. I love it. Get it! Oh, oh. Hemera wishes. Welcome to Mood, bitch. Bless you. Oh, Shunsby's like, well, hell, Ishin and Ryukin, do something, damn it. You're a Quincy. Ain't no baby rattle. She's like, I don't do kids. Oh my God. Oh no, come on now! He's like, hold on! Oh, it's like an Iron Maiden. Oh my god. He's like, I didn't even get to show my face. Freezing bed linens, bitch. No, cut off the head. Why aren't you all cutting off the heads? Cut off the heads. You'll burn for your sins, whore! What's she gonna do to Uryu? I have literally forgotten. Hashwell didn't scream. She's like, I like you. I'm gonna go a little easier on you. Yeah. See, she's like, we're gonna put you to sleep gently, Uryu. We like you. Yes. Oh my god, girl. Meanwhile, at this campfire... Black. Oh my god. That seems a bit like you have oxability a little bit. Wow. Wow, that one shot at Ichigo back from like in the manga and stuff. Considering this, that's so crazy. Y'all come up with some crazy names. Wow. So he's an old man. Black Ant. Oh. This is... God, that power is insane. No, you didn't let him finish the sentence. Y'all haven't gone to the Eisen School of Monologuing. You got to go to the Eisen School of Monologuing. That man knows how to do it. Oh. Oh. One foot short of it. One step short of it. That can't be the episode end! No way! No way! Oh my god, yeah, there was like definitely an end scene. I was like, no way! Nah, there's gonna be an end credit scene for sure. There was so much that happened in this episode set. There was so much. There was so much that happened in this episode set. Dear God. Dear God. We are going to talk about this. About the stretch of this battle scene and everything. We're going to talk about it. We are. I liked that Senjaku, she kind of went easy on Uryu. She was like, I don't want to hurt you. You're pretty. We're just going to, like, lull you to sleep. We're not going to torture you like the other guys. All of Squad 12 takes pity upon Uryu. They just accept him under their wing. Damn! Okay. Okay. We have quite a bit to talk about. But we clearly have more to this episode. Okay. There is clearly an end credit scene. Now we need to know it. What? Cone? Fuck you, Cone! Get out of here! Are you freaking kidding me? Well, I'm glad you are, Cone. Now get out! No! I refuse! Ah! I just punted somebody! Oh my god, what? Oh my god, I thought they deleted this scene. They just saved it for the end of part 2 to torture me. Right. Well, you deserved every moment of it. As I was saying... Come with me. Oh my god. Memories of you know where. Oh, they're doing these scenes that we thought was cut. Of course, Cone. Of course, Cone would bring these up, that perverted little freak. Don't do it, Renji! Don't do it! I thought we were not getting him being sexually harassed. Oh my god. But your tragedy aside. My tragedy aside. How dare you, Cone? No, it's not more like it. We were happy they cut that stuff. No! No! Oh my god. Get out of here, Cone! Oh my god. I cannot believe. I cannot believe that we didn't get an end credit scene and got Cone instead. The audacity! Well, how long did you all have to wait between cores 2 and 3? I need to look this up real quick as I was getting the manga out. 1,000 Year Blood War arc episodes. I need to know how long you had to wait between cores 2 and 3, because that seems crazy. So let's go through this. Okay, so the crazy thing is that this 1,000 Year Blood War arc started technically with episode 367, which is just insane. Okay, so Core 2's finale, which was Black, aired November 23rd of 2025. Okay, part 3 started the next... Okay, wait, what was that? Okay, oh shit! So, the English dub is what I was just looking at. Core 2 ended September of 2023. Core 2 ended then. Core 3 didn't start until the next year? You had to wait a year after that cliffhanger? What? Oh my god! That's crazy. That's insane. Oh my god, because I don't distinctly remember, to be quite honest with you, what happens after that moment that ended episode 26. I don't remember. A lot of this I have blocked out of my mind or have forgotten, because I was like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. And I definitely don't remember the new things they've added to the anime. So we're going to talk about all that. But I was like, you have to wait a year? You had to wait a year in between that? That's torture. That's cruel. And I say it's cruel because what we got through today, we did get to the missing chapter from volume 65. We're going to talk about that. But we finished out volume 66. Nothing was missed out from this volume. Stuff was added, so that's interesting. And then we got just barely into creepy freaking Osho. Osho is creepy as F. He creeps me out. We're going to talk about him. But we got into that. We got barely into that. But this entire... did we almost get to the end? We almost got to the end of volume 67. But this season 2 finale ended mid-chapter. Mid-chapter. What? That is such a bizarre choice. And we're going to talk about that choice because I'm like, what? Finish out the chapter. What? That's such a weird cliffhanger. And that feels torturous. And I'm sorry that you all had to wait a year to see the end of that. That's crazy. So... maybe they were trying to get people to buy the manga. I don't know. But we actually had we only had one scene taken out, which I'm really sad about from volume 67. And we did have a lot added in. So this was a crazy set of episodes. It highlights some of the best things about Bleach for me, but it also highlights one of the worst things about Bleach for me. And we're going to talk about that in this episode set. So, and there are some previews of things that I was like, oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to get to that. I feel like the majority of the things that I don't like from the 1,000 Year Blood War arc, I don't know if Core 3 is going to touch them or if we're going to get to them in Core 4, and I'm very curious to see what Kubo has done to maybe rectify it. So we'll see. Oh my god. So, okay, we need to talk about this, about daddy issues in Yuvok, because this opening scene that they have is added. It's a new scene. It is brand new. Let's get this rolling. My dog has been quietly sleeping while I've been watching this the last hour. So now he's going to ask me to throw his toy, and that's fine. So here in 3, 2, 1. I want to go through and talk about this brand new scene, which is showing the Sarate back in its former glory before when Osho was I get the impression that Osho was Yamamoto, basically, back in the day, or the equivalent of that. It's not obviously the same, but we have this idea that at one time, all 3 of the realms were connected. So we start out getting into this. Osho just creeps me out. As if, this looks demonic. Osho looks demonic on this cover. He's supposed to. He looks creepy. He looks like the masks that if you've ever watched Demon Slayer, it's a cultural symbol in Japan, and I wish I was more cultured to know, but it's like the blacksmiths kind of wore these masks. They kind of look like an oni or a demon, and Osho looks like that. He looks like that. And if you notice, like, the more he got kind of frustrated or powered up, his face became redder and redder, kind of like a demon. Yeah, he's creepy. I don't like Osho. When Shunsui is kind of wary of you, that's when you know that you should probably be wary of them. Because if Shunsui doesn't want to be friends with you, then it's a sign. So Osho gives me the creeps. I don't like him. I can't trust him. He always has a smile on his face and he seems fake. I don't like it. So basically, this added scene is of young Yuvok meeting with Osho. Don't get to meet with Daddy. No, because he's stuck in a court somewhere. But he's like, he basically meets up with him and says, we're the balancer of the three worlds. That is the Soul Society, the world of the living, and Hueco Mundo. So the Quincy's inhabit the world of the living, the Shinigami inhabit the Soul Society, and the Arrancar and the Hollows weren't invited to the dinner table. Can we just establish that? They were not invited. Hueco Mundo was left out. They were not. At least Aizen was nice enough to invite him to the table to talk. I'm just going to defend Aizen this entire series. But yeah, so we get some people there. The one guy, like with the eye patch, we saw him and Yamamoto. Yamamoto ends up killing him along with some of these others. Nice of them to let a lady to the table. And then this one guy that has the sword, he looks like he could be Hashvalt's ancestor. He also has like a little tie. That's cute. But yeah, I came to propose a non-aggression pact between the Soul Society and the Lichtreich, which is the Quincy's. Let us Soul Reapers worry about the world. And let us enjoy. This part was worded weirdly, and I don't know if it was a translation thing. So those of you down below, it's an added scene, so I can't reference the manga to see how it is in the manga. But he said, let us, balance the world, enjoy the prosperity of your empire. So basically, Osho is framing it in this as, we'll keep the peace. We'll take care of all the imbalances and impurities, and you just let us enjoy the world. You let us just bask in the prosperity of your empire. You guys just go do your thing and don't worry about it. We'll take care of all the stuff. It's fine. That seems how he's phrasing it, but even the way he says it is kind of like, I don't know, it feels like a used car salesman. It's just, that goes without saying that we will not interfere. What does he say there? We're not with the unification of the Quincy's by the Lichtreich. So basically he's saying you guys can form your little Quincy pact and you guys can all hang out together and have the Quincy's and help, but we're going to be the ones to do things. You guys can all sing Kumbaya, hold hands. We're going to be the one that keeps balance. Don't destroy the hollows. And just do that. It's a win-win pact. You guys get to have your get-together. We get to do what we need to do. Everything's fine. We've got the three worlds all connected. It's all good. And I do like that you have the three windows. 3 beams of light, 3 worlds, 3 groups and societies. Again, the Arrancar weren't invited. But again, the Arrancar weren't really there. It was all just hollows till Aizen came along. I see no reason to refuse. Anytime someone gives you an offer and says, I see no problems with this, you should definitely read the fine print. That was the vibe I was getting with Osho and all this. He's like, look, we have a perfect situation for you. Nothing you need to worry about. Don't worry about your dad. Don't even think about him. Just go on about your day. We'll take care of everything. Don't read the fine print. That was kind of the vibe that I got from Osho in this. And so I don't blame Yuvok for being skeptical. And for him saying, you take me so lightly as if I'm some ignorant baby. And he's like, well, no, that's not my intention. And then he's like, but you indeed know nothing. Oh, that's crazy. The world was once one. Who set the boundaries? They had eternal peace by separating life and death. And he said, the Soul King. So basically, the way that Yuvok understands the world is that at one time, there was no separation between the Serite and the Hollow World and the Living World. It was all one world. And he's like, who separated it? And Osho's like, the Soul King separated it. That's why. There's a reason for that, probably, but Osho doesn't seem the need to explain that. So Yuvok, his goal is to unite all the worlds together as one. Now, Urahara has kind of hinted around at that in a not so subtle way by saying that if you spill over, they've used the metaphor of like the scales, which you'd think Hoshvalt would be all about this since that's kind of his jam. But they've done the thing where you can't tip the scales and have too many souls and not enough places for them to go. And then you got this problem, and then it creates this whole, it could destroy the fabric of the world itself. You know, Urahara's kind of talked about that. And so you would think that would get brought up to Yuvok, but Yuvok is convinced that the world needs to be reunited because, as he says, who brought the fear of death to the people? And yeah, the fear of death is a problem, and it's very scary, but at the same time, you know, there's something to be said about mortality, and, you know, the fear of mortality is not something that gets talked about a lot in Bleach. We're going to bring that up later. But yeah, so Yuvok's like, the anguished cries of the souls that have returned to me. Now, this is where things are so dicey between the two of them, because they're both kind of two-faced. And they both are kind of seeming self-righteous. Like, you have Osho on one end, that he's like, oh, well, the worlds have to be separated. You wouldn't understand, but they have to be separated. Don't you worry about it. We'll take care of it. Quit trying to interfere. And that's kind of pretentious in its own way. But then you have Yuvok, who's like, well, the cries of the people that have died, that I've heard, that have come back to me, I just feel like I need to figure out a way to stop that. And I'm like, but you're also cursing these people and they're dying to restore yourself. So you're not talking about that part of it, but you're leaving that conveniently out of the equation and out of the conversation. But, you know, the Ashwaulan that you perform, we're going to talk about that. You conveniently leave out that, you know, in the conversation. So we're just not going to talk about it. So both Osho and Yuvok are both, they have these like morally gray areas to them, but they both believe they're so righteous that it's kind of crazy to look at. Also, it's interesting to see Yuvok as a young man. He looks like old Getsuga, old man Getsuga. Those who fear death and cling to their fleeting lives. It's kind of interesting, and that's the answer that you have to offer Ichibei Hyosube. Ichibei does not like having his name said, so that's why I'm calling him Osho. He doesn't like having his name said. He treats names very seriously. I think it's interesting that Yuvok is kind of like, I mean, we use the Antichrist symbolism, but he is kind of like a reverse Jesus, where if you're Christian, you know the story of Jesus. Jesus dies to give life to everyone, and in this, it's reversed, and everyone dies to give life to Yuvok. So Yuvok, his existence is kind of this Antichrist, and it's kind of an interesting like concept, but also we find out in this, and I think we find out in the manga later. I have forgotten about this part because the Soul King makes me frustrated. But we find out he is the son of the Soul King. How? We're going to talk about that. But yeah, how is he the son of the Soul King? We're going to talk about that. But you know what? Not for now. Now is not the time. But it's interesting because the Soul King seems, he's this little, you know, he has no arms or legs, which we will talk about. He has no arms or legs, but he's given away things to protect the world, and Yuvok is given things to be given life. It's an interesting concept of Yuvok and the Soul King being father and son. The logistics we're going to talk about in Core 3 and 4, I am sure, in more detail. But it is an interesting concept, and I appreciate that they gave us this extra scene. Where in these three worlds can one find peace? Well, you know what? Maybe they had to separate the three worlds out because there was no peace amongst all of them. That's kind of, Yuvok is like, well, you know, these three worlds create this problem, so let's just combine them all together and the problem will be solved. And Osho's sitting there like, no, that's not going to solve the problem. You weren't there. You don't know how things were when things separated. You don't know why we did it, and I don't know you the explanation. So it's this crazy concept between the two of them of ego and pride and righteousness and a lack of communication. And a big old dollop of daddy issues to make things just be ridiculous. So he's like, I can see it all. I'll show it to you. Yeah, so Yuvok shows that he has the eyes. And they try, I like that instead of like bringing out their bows and arrows, like girl just brings out a gun. Bitches love cannons. And then he uses not only his powers, but also the arm there. So, and it shows the eyes as well. So, okay. there is the concept with the Soul King that I do remember, and I feel like we're going to talk about it a lot more in the next course, so I don't want to get the cart before the horse. But the Soul King has 2 arms and 2 legs. If you've noticed him in the ED, he does not have said arms or legs. They are somewhere else. Presumably, Osho has one of the arms. I don't know if that's confirmed, but it seems to show there's his eyes there. He's connected to it. That's why Osho's so crazy powerful. Also why he is an extension of the Soul King. He is a vassal for the Soul King, all that stuff, fun stuff. I want to say that Ukitake, not to get into spoilers, but I feel like Ukitake is one of the arms or legs, if I remember correctly. We're going to talk about that next in the next couple of courses. But I think that's one of them. I can't remember if Yoruichi is one of them. We'll talk about that in the next couple of cores. And then there's another one as well. But regardless, the whole eye thing is creepy. It still bugs me. But it's just the fact of... Also, if you notice, we have the scene here where he shows Yuvok the same things that Ichigo were shown. And you see there the Soul King being held by Osho. Now, if you're getting to shipping territory. Am I saying Osho and the Soul King could be a ship? And that this is, and Yuvok is like the angry son fighting the lover of his dad? Sure, why not? Why not? Because he's sitting there holding him. So why not? That is a creepy shot. That's a creepy shot in itself of Yuvok. His eyes look crossed and they're looking the other way. That's creepy. Also, does it imply that the Soul King has 8 eyes? Because he has like 2, and he has like 4 per eyeball. Is that being implied? Creepy. He's like, you see, you knew nothing. We, together with the Soul King, maintain this fragile world. So it almost feels as if the Soul King has used his body parts to separate out the different worlds and the different realms. And Yuvok just thinks it's pitiful and doesn't understand, like, why his dad, he's like, it's repulsive. It's funny that he says repulsive while he's looking like that. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, and he grabs Ichibei similar to how he grabs him in the last episode. I told you I can see it all. Do you think you can kill me with that hand? Yeah, so that is the arm of the Soul King. My father's hand is nothing more than a sacrifice to his child. Meaning it's like, it's mine. It can give life, but it cannot take away. Ooh, so basically he's revealing that the Soul King's ability is that he can give life, he can restore things, he can separate things, but he can't take it back to himself. So once he gives it away, it cannot be returned. And Yuvok's like, well, I'm better than my dad because I can give things away and take them back. Isn't that fun? And it's like, I don't know if you've missed the plot, sir, but interesting. Yeah, they can never see through the Soul King. Ooh, love it. Yep, and then he took away, yeah. Says, do you think I'd let you have the Soul King's arm for free? So he does have the Soul King's arm. Yep. So there's that, and then he leaves. Your eyes will be closed forever, never to open until the day that you die. Oof. Well, that's good. See, and that whole thing about the eyes, I feel like that is going to come back in the part that we didn't get to in this core. And I was like, that would have been, the English teacher in me is like, that would have been the perfect place to end on. That would have been the perfect book note. You started out referencing it in this additional scene that you added yourselves. But then instead of bookending and having it come back onto it, you had 5 minutes left of the episode. You had 5 minutes left. You could have shown the rest of that chapter if you wanted to. Instead, you gave us effing Cone. Effing Cone! And he was narrating through the parts that they deleted from the manga that were good parts to have had deleted. We talked about them in the past. What? I just don't like Cone. And I was like, we talked about why those scenes were problematic and they shouldn't exist, but you included them anyway. Instead of just bookending the show and making it all, like, symmetrical. I feel like Death the Kid and Soul Eater. I'm like, it's not symmetrical. But yeah, so I mean, I'm glad we get more context. I'm glad the context exists. I'm glad this added scene exists. That's great. And he tells him to live a modest life. I'm glad I lost these eyes, so I don't have to see through your humiliation anymore. My father, the Soul King, has become nothing but a mindless and hideous lump of flesh to be worshipped. I'll give you a new purpose. That is one thing. Okay, so of Romania's 5 things in Thousand Year Blood War arc that she is irked at and does not like, we're not quite to it yet, but I'm going to preface that the Soul King bugs me a little bit in that when Yuvok, especially when Yuvok here says just a lump of flesh that needs to be worshipped, who's worshiping him? That is one thing that I think the story, it never had brought up until Aizen and Urahara's chat at the end of the fake Karakura Town arc. It was never even, like, the Soul King may have been briefly referenced in vagaries throughout the series, but until that conversation between Urahara and Aizen happens, it's like, what are you referencing? What is this being? Where has it been this whole time? What are we talking about? We're like 300 chapters into this, or like 500 chapters into it by this point. What are you talking about? And then for it to be this omnipresent force that nobody but Squad Zero knows about. Except, I mean, the Sarate seems like Urahara and them seem to have known about him, but they never bring him up until it's time for him to be brought up. So when Yuvok's talking about him being worshipped, I'm like, nobody on Earth worships him. Nobody in Karakura Town or any of those places worship him. There's no church for the Soul King. Nobody's referencing. So, like, who's worshiping him? Not even the Sarate. They don't even reference him. So it's like, what are you talking about, Willis? I'm like, now, Yuvok saying that he wants to take over and become the Soul King and give a new purpose, and he's like, well, they'll worship me. Then I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, his agenda seems pretty clear, but I'm just kind of like, we didn't even know about the Soul King till like 500 chapters into this series. So he's like, you should vanish along with this world, become a grave to the 3 worlds. So basically, Yuvok is like, I'm going to combine all the worlds. I'm going to boot the Soul King out. My daddy's got to go. I'm going to take over and remake the world in my own image. I'm going to become a god. I basically am at this point, or he thinks that he is, and that's what we're going to do. And he views a Soul King as not having any autonomy or any mind or anything like that, which he kind of doesn't, at least from what we know so far. He kind of doesn't have any autonomy or mind, which is pretty sad. But again, we're going to talk about that when we get to it. We're not to it. We've not really confronted the Soul King yet. That's going to happen next core, and I can't believe I have to wait a week before I can get to it. So anyway, the chapter now we're to the chapter that was left out of volume 65. And halfway through volume 65, we got this chapter where they show up. It's chapter 588, the Headless Star 7. And we got this chapter where they show up, and basically we have the preview. Squad Zero finds out they're coming. We have Oetsu's sword there, Mara. She's great. But they all see him coming, sense him coming, and he's like, this is Ryokyu. Ryokyu, this is the Soul King's palace. And what's interesting is that Hoshfelth, he says, in this part, he's like, I feel your pain, your majesty. I know you feel like Hoshfelth's like, I lost my dad too, and I understand the pain you feel of being separated from him. And Hoshfelth, and Yuvok's like, I don't care. He's like, screw you, Hoshfelth. Screw you and your father issues. I'm not feeling a shred of emotion looking at this decaying grave. And at that point, Hoshfelth's like, sorry about that. My apologies. Thought we were on the same page. Guess we're not. You would think the Hoshfelth and Uryu would be talking about their estranged fatherhoods at this point, but not really happening. We will end this world of deceit and create a new world of peace. That is an added line. That's not in the manga. So yeah, he's basically saying we're going to end this, start a new world. I think it's interesting. There are 5 palaces there, 5 crosses of the Quincy. Now that we know the Yuvok and the Soul King are related, seems more than just coincidence. But the chapter does go in where he has his little stormtroopers pop out, and that's where Korinji shows up. I freaking love Korinji. He's like, I'm holy guardian of the East, Tenjiro Korinji. And he's like, how about the temperature, my friends? A bath that squeezes out the blood and spiritual pressure. And so that chapter ends with Korinji going after to attack Yuvok. That does not exactly happen in the manga or in the anime adaptation. Instead, the guards come out, and instead of Korinji stopping them, then our girl Senjaku, she's the one that comes out instead. So it's a little bit different, a little bit altered from the original context, but that's pretty much volume 65. The chapter that was way back in volume 63 has not been referenced yet. We're going to keep this on the back burner because I think it's going to come up later, so we're just going to keep that in the wings. But we are now through volume 65 altogether, and we're getting into volume 66. So get back into this, which is chapter 597, Winded by the Shadow. Now, in the manga, Korinji, the chapter starts out with Korinji not being able to land a single blow. And they just decided to cut that out of the anime adaptation because it just seemed like a slight waste of time. Now, there is one point here where he says he's not dodging or deceiving my eyes. What is going on? And it shows that there's this like warping. It's a preview of the W. So there's a foreshadowing of the W there in the manga. And the anime chose to just cut that part and go straight to Senjaku and the soldier showing up. I'm not mad at it. I'm fine with that cut because it's really just Korinji getting a little time, like a tiny second to shine, but he doesn't do anything. So it's just for hype purposes. It's okay. So yeah, she's like, you must have really lost your mind after battling Yamamoto. How discourteous. One thing is interesting. Yuvok does not even try to attack her. She's amazing. Like, Kubo said, I can only have a few badass women on screen at a time because the manga cannot handle their power. And so, Orihime's not doing much. Rukia's not doing much right now. Yoruichi's not doing much right now. I had to kill off Unohana so this woman could come in and be just the badassery to replace it. We can't have too much badassery on the screen at once. Too much power. The whole place would blow up. So you know what? It's fine. I did forget about the W. Did forget about them. Let's get through this OP. Even though I love this OP so much. I love it so much. But yeah. So we get through that. And then we go back to Urahara's. But yeah. We actually, before we get to Ichigo and Urahara, we do get Nyanzel Wazel. Nyanzel Wazel, Kubo, my dude. Before, you can't blame ChatGPT on this. Kubo did not have that. This is just his madness. So, the wind. The two tongues is a choice. The two tongues are a choice. It just, there's something to be said as well. And I was thinking about during the reaction, we might, I could touch base on it. I'm going to touch base on it now since I'm here in the manga. But there's something to be said about Yuvok. It almost feels as if Yuvok, you can look at it from two different ways. And I'm not exactly sure which way I lean to more. On the one hand, the fact that a lot of the Sternritter are people that have like physical disabilities or physical deformities that are not the norm, like the two tongues, like Asnot had the illness, and like Lolita with the mouth that sticks out. Like a lot of the Sternritter have like a physical abnormality that is different than the norm or the standard of society. And you could look at it, I guess, in one way as saying, well, Yuvok has recruited all of these Sternritter that have these and giving them a chance to have more potential and to be the truest forms of themselves. And that seems very empowering until you get to the point where he's just using them all. And then they're all just like fodder for him for whenever he wants to use them. And at that point, you're kind of like, doesn't it quite have the warm fuzzy feeling that it did before? But it's an interesting concept to say the least. So, meanwhile, while this is all going down, y'all need to read the manga, if anything, to just see the really cute exchanges. Ichigo has some really cute moments in this arc that are kind of underplayed in the anime. I really love his expressions. I love how adorable he is. So yeah, and then Kisuke, while they're getting ready, the part that they cut out is that there's all this music playing, and Kisuke's like, the mood is important for these kind of things. It's much more exciting with music, isn't it? And Ichigo's like, you can hear me. Don't ignore me. So I'm surprised that they cut that because Kubo's a big music person. But yeah, then Ganju shows up. Sweet old Ganju. There is a little part here where there's like Waitzel's there in the corner there. And the little thing says, I can eat ice cream at twice the speed. Kubo. I do love Ganju showing up. Ever since we found out that Ishin is a Shiba, I mean, when you look at Ganju, you instantly are like, yes, they look related. they look like they share a bloodline, a family tree, if you will. I'm honestly surprised Ganju's voice actor in Japanese, because I'm so used to the English dub for Bleach. He sounds a lot more like higher pitched in his voice than I was expecting. I was expecting Ganju to have like a deeper voice, but he does not, which is kind of curious. I also really wish that Ichigo was able to have more conversations with Ganju and with Kukaku, especially after he finds out that he's related to them, because they are cousins, like second cousins or whatever. I wish we'd have more. The genealogy nerd in me, knowing that they're related, I'm like, I want them to have more conversations. Also, at this point, they don't show it in the anime, but we get to see the map of how to get to the soul, like the soul realm, and it's the map that Kukaku has, and Ganju's like, I gotta show you. What a wild continuity thing with, you know, Ishin helps Ichigo train in between the dimensions during the fake Karakura Town arc, and now that ties back to them all being related to Kukaku and Ganju, who have access to, like, going in between realms. Keep it in the family. It's really fun. I like it a lot. But yeah. And I like that Ichigo's like, is this true? And Urahara's like, well, yes, of course I thought of this. Well, yes. But yeah, I just wish there was more of that. Honestly, though, the fact, y'all, it still kills me. Aizen Sosuke, one of the most brilliant minds in the entire Sarate, one of the most brilliant minds to ever grace this entire world and series, was not able to reach the Soul Palace, but Kon and Ganju Shiba have. That is mind-blowing to me! That is mind-blowing to me! I just like, what? What? That's going to forever blow my mind. I'm like, that is the ultimate insult, the ultimate trolling to Aizen. Y'all, how? I got this roadmap from my sister. And so Ichigo's like, fine, come along with this. If you think it's going to work out, then let's go. We'll just all go up here. And then everybody watches them. Everybody watches them take off. Oh my God. Does the manga have this when they take off? Does he have it? So it can only be used once. No, it does not. Oh my God, it didn't. It just shows them all leaving. This part is added too, where Mayuri's like, that's when ugly lift off. Oh my God, I love that. That is just, Mayuri's like, I'm gonna be the pettiest bitch to Urahara, to be like, to make fun of him and his advancements. He's like, how dare he? That is so freaking funny. It couldn't have been adjusted any worse. Like, just giving him the most hell. Oh my God. Love it. Absolutely love it. So they don't show us this part here, but Orihime being like, this is like it was when we went to rescue Rukia, except Uryu. We've swapped Uryu for Ganju, as it were, and Yoruichi's not a cat anymore. But I love the way that she's drawn here. She's like, I wonder if Uryu will come back. And Ichigo's like, yes, of course he will. We're going to take Yuvok down, and we're going to smack Uryu upside the head and bring him back. Isn't that what we decided? I mean, it's secondary, obviously. I do like the way that they animated him. We're going to get to it in a little bit. I like the way that they animated Ichigo in the anime, where he has a little blush. I'm like, it's hard for me to ship Uryu and Ichigo, though, because they're cousins. So I'm like, we can't get too noble. We can't get too Game of Thrones up in this. But yeah, I do like the transition of them wondering about Uryu, and then Uryu being there at the Soul Society with, like, the hair over his face, looking extra emo. You know how it goes. But we cut back to Senjaku and her and his soldiers. They're both battling. We have black versus white, because of course we do. It's Soul Reapers versus Quincy, of course. And that's when we get the wind. Old Nyanzel. We get him. And basically, just like in the manga, Senjaku, she previews her powers against him, that she can bend reality and use the cloth as stealth. I do like that Nyanzel has his jacket on backwards. That's really cute. Love that. But yeah, she ends up killing him. Like, he did. He absolutely did. Yeah. She's great. We're going to talk about her. But yeah, so he dies in this. That's pretty much exactly how it was in the manga. And then there is this little shot of Ganju with his little boar saying, my fur vest is obviously fake fur. Ganju is a friend to the animals. Go Ganju. Good job for him. I feel like there's something with Ganju, because watching this episode back, and again, I have forgotten a lot of what happens in Core 3 and 4. And when I say a lot. I remember quite a few parts of it, but the parts I remember are not necessarily the parts I enjoyed. So we're not there yet. But I remember, I think something with the Fullbringers is involved with Ganju, because the manga and the anime have kind of hinted that the Fullbringers have been practicing with him. So there's something involved with that, but I don't quite remember what it was. But yeah, so then the Royal Guard show up. I've been watching clips from the FIFA World Cup, and Mr. Valkyrie is giving me Erling Haaland vibes. Very much so. What a badass drip. Kubo knows how to do a character spread. He knows how to introduce a character. He just makes it look so effortlessly cool. Love that. But yeah, let's get past them. Yeah, so we get back. What is Yuvok trying to become? We get back to Ichigo and them. And we're like, well, is it even possible to replace the Soul King? So they talk about it in the anime. They talk about Yuvok's goal, whereas in the manga, it's not quite as laid out. I mean, is it possible to replace him? Yeah, maybe, kind of. The Soul King is supposed to be the foundation of how the world works. An entity that cannot be replaced. So, I mean, if Yuvok wants to replace him, that would essentially make him immortal and control the world. So, and Orihime's so optimistic in this, like, near-apocalyptic scenario. She's like, well, we could all die, but man, bringing back memories. Oh, Orihime, girl, never change. I love her. So, anyway, then this part here, I want to find where they're talking about Ishida coming back. And yeah, do you think he'll come back with us? It looks like that Ishida was protecting his eyesight there, like he was defending his eyes from what might happen, so that's interesting. And he's like, of course, we're gonna bring him back. Yeah, this little blush here, super cute. Love Ichigo doing that. So yeah, so then we have these guys showing up. I will say, quite honestly, that Pernita Parknigas Kubo. There is a character from Jujutsu Kaisen that is very much derived with inspiration from this guy. Like, as soon as I saw him up close, I was like, that Kubo did some direct inspiration. Fun times. But we get them all, not only full spread on here, but we also get everybody's titles, letters and titles, which they don't give us here. So Sternritter M is the Miracle, Gerard Valkyrie. I feel like the Miracle, Gerard, I feel like that's going to be similar to Master Masculine a little bit, whereas the Miracle, the superpower, you're not going to be able to kill him. Maybe. I don't quite remember how his power works. Lily Barrow being the X-axis, what a badass. Like, Tosin would be so proud. And then Sternritter C is the Compulsory, Pernita Parkgas. I don't know what compulsory fits into this, but we're going to find out. And then the death dealing, Askin Naklavar. And he's like, whoa! Him and, like, I need Askin, Stark, and Shunsui to go on a bender together. I need them to go on a frat boy bender together, because those three would have the most fun time. Stark, Shunsui, and Askin, they are like, it's like they're all a spectrum of each other's personalities. They need to hang out together. I need this in my life, because Askin and Stark, like, he was just sitting there being like, well, I'm just so laid back and I'm not that powerful, but I'm actually the strongest one here. And it's like, you're Stark. Stop it. You're the Quincy Stark. Yeah, just straight up Viking. Straight up, like, Armstrong Viking. Love it. Although, yeah. So then the compulsory grinds everything up. So she did get headshot. Girl did get a headshot. I forgot about that. I was like, oh! They made this freaking anime adaptation so bloody. I forgot that she got just headshot. Absolutely. Forgot completely about that. Okay. So yeah, the Royal Guards, and then she just bops down. Nobody's cutting people's heads off in this series, which is where they need to get better if you're going to totally kill somebody. But yeah, wow. So chapter 600 is called Snipe, which ties with Lily's personality. I am so impressed with, I always want to know what color Lily's outfits were, and I don't recall seeing any cover pages that he was on where it was colored, and it being the green fur, it's like moss. Good choice. Good choice. So yeah, so we find out that Osho drew the symbol hiding the real royal palace. And he's like, oh, you gave it away already. Creepy. That man is creepy. I don't like Osho. He bothers me. And so meanwhile, I just love Askin. Of all the Quincy's, of all the Sternritters, Askin is probably one of my favorites. I really love his personality. And he's just like, what? Go with the flow. But yeah, so anyway, Hikifune creates this giant womb that looks like a cage. Ironically enough, it doesn't look too dissimilar from the cage that Opie put Ichigo in at the beginning of this series. I see the similarities. They are not lost on me. And that's kind of the thing. A lot of the powers and a lot of the aspects of this battle just go to show how similar the Shinigami and the Quincy's are, which is reinforcing the narrative that Ichigo is going to be Ichigo is going to tell Uryu. He's going to say it. He's going to be like, Uryu, we're not that different, you and I. It's like the Shinigami and the Quincy should be working together. We're too similar, see? But, they're giving us little foreshadowings with that. Honestly, Hikifune is probably my least favorite of Squad Zero. She's great. She's badass. She's got the Nell factor where she gets the two forms. But she just, in terms of combat, she is more of like a defensive bulking character. And she creates some things, but she's not the most exciting fighter. So I feel like it'll be interesting to see her fighting. Well, she's fighting against the compulsory. So that's going to be interesting to see by the end of this. Meanwhile, Korinji looks so badass, and so does Senjaku. They look great. And then Oetsu shows up with his Zanpakuto. They're so cool that I feel bad for Hikifune. I feel like they just don't quite have she doesn't have the pizzazz the others do. I also believe that Verge of Vermilion, that cover for Chapter 601, and it's also the backsplash of, it's the backsplash of Volume 67. That's such a good cover. Oetsu looks so freaking cool. Him and Urahara, somebody wondered if Urahara had been to the spirit realm before because he, got some tricks from Korinji. He also acts a lot like Oetsu. And so I'm like, has he been to the spirit realm? This is where Squad Zero gets rolling. And so then we start this back and forth business between the two of them of who's going to kill who. And Volume 66 ends with Askin revealing his powers. With Askin revealing that he's the death dealer and that he's actually going to, kill a lot of them. So, do you have the power to escape the womb? I want to talk about something real quick. There is a ton that is added. There is a ton. When I say a ton, there is a ton of things that have been added in these next two episodes that are not in the manga. And I think that you can kind of figure out what's been added because I'm going to be honest, from here into Volume 67, Uryu and Hoshveld have nothing to do. So we're going to talk about that. I was like, but yeah, so this ends with Askin's ability getting kind of prefaced. But we don't quite get to that point yet before we get all the stuff with Hoshvald and Oksho, because that has to be prefaced to get further into this. So, the future, pitch black, upside down, crazy talk. So yeah, Ichibei, we got Askin, we got Oetsu, we got everybody. We only get to chapter 608. We only get to part of chapter 608 in this volume, so we didn't get through everything. But we do set up, Askin explaining his ability happens before Yuvok approaches Osho, which is crazy, but let's get through that. So yeah, he's like, oh, you got through. And Hoshvald's like, well, he's like, aren't you going after His Majesty? And he's like, I should be asking you guys the same question. So yeah, he likes to say all sorts of things about me when I'm not around. There's little things that have been added, like Korinji kind of talking smack about how creepy Osho is and Osho recognizing it. It's just, ugh. And he really doesn't like you to say his name. Yep, Manako Osho, which is Ichibei Hyosube. Oh, just that shot alone, creepy. He's like creepy Santa. Like, nope. So that ended episode 24. Then we get into episode 25, which is mainly about this big old battle between everybody. So, okay, we do have this part here, which we kind of skip around a little bit. So I want to get to that in front of the former R&D department. So I want to, there's so much jumping around in this, and we're going to get to it, but I'm going to go back. There's so much jumping around. Like, we don't get to, the stuff with Urahara is so out of play. Like, it's not until like almost the end of the episode where episode 26 ends. It's almost to the end there. So the manga and the anime are a little bit out of sync. Like, we don't even get Hiyori showing up until Osho gets freaky. But we do get outside here where he's like drawing a line and she's like, "What are you doodling out here?" "I'm preparing while waiting for you guys." Anytime Urahara is doing anything, there is a reason for it. That needs to be made known. I just love Hiyori, though. I love her little trucker hat. It's great. And she makes note that she's like, "I thought we were all supposed to go together." And Urahara's like, "What? Well, plans have changed. The situation has changed." And she's like, "What if they die because you sent them there without us? You better not have sent Ichigo and Yoruichi because you're fine with them dying as long as they delay the enemy." That is not true. That's the one thing. Like, Hiyori, bless her heart, I love Hiyori. She is wrong about many things in this story. And one of the things that she is wrong about is the moment she's like, "Oh, would you send Ichigo and Yoruichi to their deaths early?" I'm like, girl, he cares about them more than anybody else in this series, including you. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. No. But who we do meet is Yoruichi's brother. Did we know she had a brother until now? Not necessarily. However, I'm not surprised, just because a lot of the fandom were asking, like, Yoruichi's always doing off on these missions, screwing Urahara, doing all this. Like, who's leading the Shihoan clan while she's off on these missions and being a cat? We find out. His name is Yushiro Shihoan. Yushiro is Tenshi Heisoban, keeper of the heavenly weapons, the Shihoan family's 23rd head. So he took over after her, right? He is very cute. He is very adorable. He looks nothing like Yoruichi. I'm also realizing something. Did Kubo base Yoruichi and her brother off of Anthe from Revolutionary Girl Utena? Are there any connections there? Interesting. But yeah, he's like, "Oh, well, I'm certain things you brought will be of use to your older sister, so come on in." So we have, of course, the mystery of what's in the bag. What is it? Is it a kayak? Are they going to go kayaking in the Soul Palace? Is it a giant boomerang? Like, what is it? Is it banana boats? Like, what have we brought? Is it a sail? What is this? Although it is good continuity that Kubo is bringing back the fact that Yoruichi's family have all the secret weapons. She used one, like, against Byakuya back in, like, the beginning of the series. So good to know that we're having some continuity there. I appreciate that. And then Hiyori says, "For the sake of the Sarate." I hate when you say that. Yeah, because I would say what's interesting about Urahara, we noted about this in the Discord, that originally Kubo planned for Urahara to be the enemy of the series until he made Aizen, which I'm glad he decided to, because Urahara and Aizen are so awesome that one without the other seems wrong. But in regards to that, I always feel like you have Aizen and Yuvok who are not satisfied with the way the world is and they want to change it. And Urahara, while he recognizes the flaws of the world, is not necessarily wanting to change it. He wants to keep it intact, but maybe explore it within the ways that he's accessible to. It's interesting. I've been watching Witch Hat Atelier, and there is a lead character in that series that reminds me of Urahara in a way, in how mysterious he is and how he understands the flaws of the status quo, but he doesn't want to entirely upend it. So it's a lot. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing to ponder with his character as we move into this next episode here. Let's get past this OP. I love the OP so much. So yeah, we have this whole thing being set up with Osho and Yuvok saying, "I hope you don't lose your voice in the process." And so then this is added, like, in the manga, to be honest with you all, in the manga, like, Ashfelt and Uryu, they disappear. They are not to be found in this volume until after things go down. They're not to be found. And this is my one thing with Kubo. Kubo is really good at one-on-one fights. He's very good at characterization. He's very good at distinct charactering. You can tell he puts his heart and soul into the character work, which as someone that's character-driven reading is what I love most about Bleach. The characters are amazing. He's good at one-on-one fights when it's like one person versus a lot of people, or it's one-on-one combat, or it's like a duo versus a duo. Like, he's really good at that. Where I think Kubo has a little bit of a weakness in terms of it is that when he gets too many people on the page, he can't quite get everybody doing something all at once. Or when there's an uneven amount of people, then he doesn't know what to do with the people that aren't matched up. Because if you think about it, there's Osho and Yuavok, there's Senjaku, like the 4 Squad Zero members, Senjaku, Kirinji, Hikifune, and Oetsu have an each guard to work with. Well, that leaves Uryu and Hoshvalt just standing around with a thumb up their butts going, I guess we'll just stand here and not participate. You know, so I don't know if Kubo didn't exactly know what to do with them. So he's like, I'm just going to have them stand here. He doesn't have them do much in these episodes. And if you notice, the stuff that happens to Uryu and Hoshvalt don't really affect them too much, because in the manga they're not affected too much. So we can't, get them too riled up and changed, because then it's going to reflect on the manga and the story is going to start to get impacted by it. So if you notice, not much happens to Uryu in these episodes, because in the manga nothing happens to him. So it's like we don't even see him. So that's kind of an interesting little thing, because I was like, man, Uryu's getting off the hook pretty easy in this episode set, because nothing happens. And he's like, which of you are the successor again? I do like that being added, because Hoshvalt is clearly annoyed. He's like, it's me, bitch. we're just letting him be the successor, but it's really me. Love it. So then we have this battle getting started. Osho is just so freaking crazy. Nope. At least I feel like Yamamoto, there was no foxy, sly cunning with Yamamoto. He was blunt. He was clear. He was like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. Osho is cunning and kind of a snake, and it's kind of creepy, and you can't trust him. And it's just, and he's supposed to be like on our side, on the side of the Shinigami, but it's still, I don't like it. It's really crazy. Don't say my name lightly. Yep, so they're getting started on this. He clearly has the arm of the king, and they get started with their battle. Meanwhile, he's like, reflect on what you've done. And then, of course, Yuvok's like, I'm just going to rip my vocal cords out and heal myself so I can get my voice back. So while they're battling, I don't think the manga goes into some detail with this, and we'll touch back on it when we get into the manga. But first of all, Oetsu tries to battle Hoshvalt, and that does not happen in the manga at all. A lot of this doesn't. A lot of these things happening are added, but where you have Uryu and Hoshvalt just standing there, it's because they're not present in the manga at all. And this stuff here between Senjaku and Uryu, look, Uryu has gotten his powers from Yuvok, so he's clearly stronger, but I could see why they don't let the battle between him and Senjaku go on very long, because it seems like it would be a horrible power imbalance. If Ichigo and the others could barely do anything to her to rile her up, why do we think Uryu would? So there's that. So although I will say, of all the things they've added, Uryu fires the arrows at her making the umbrella out of her threads is actually gorgeous. When we get to it, I'm going to stop it because it's beautiful. But anyway, so we finally get back to this stuff with Askin. Askin's freaking thing. We have got a whole, again, Kubo does draw some inspiration, or Gege draws some inspiration from Kubo for Jujutsu Kaisen, because this whole explaining the powers in great detail, that is something Gege would do. So we find out lethal dose. The fatal amount of a substance when consumed by an organism is the lethal dose. Because it differs depending on the species, stage of growth, and manner in which it's consumed, the period of ingestion depends on the organism and other factors. It's impossible to extrapolate an accurate amount. Thus, a median lethal dose, the amount of substance that could kill 50% of a subject is commonly used as the benchmark. And so for tetrodotoxin in a blowfish, it's this. For wolfsbane, it's this. For this is nicotine. For caffeine, it's 200 milligrams. Basically, if you drink an Alani, you've reached the lethal dose because they're 200 milligrams. And then 12,000 for vitamin C. My shrift is D, the death dealing. In another world, Askin would have been a pharmacist. In another world, he absolutely could have been. I can calculate the lethal dose and adjust that amount at will. So, yeah, Bane licking good is chapter 602. Crazy. I do love the fact that they tied in Korinji's powers to restore blood and replace it in this battle. That's genius. I love that. And it makes this... Because at first you're like, he's going to bleed to death. Like, what's he going to do? And then when Tenjiro gets involved, you're like, oh, yeah, that's such a great use of those powers. I'm going to skip over him just getting all the blood, though, because that stuff grosses me out. But yeah, let me show you this. This part here where she builds the little umbrella. I'm going to get past this battle part here to it. Where she builds the little umbrella out of her thread to, like, have the reishi, like, rain. That's so cute. It's beautiful. I love that scene. I wish that was in the manga. It unfortunately is not. But yeah. Now, there we have, Yuvok fighting off against Osho. And then we go from here. I like all the added content that they do here. It's gorgeous, especially the stuff with our Senjaku, with our lovely seamstress. It's really great. My only issue is, and this is kind of like a Bane against Bleach as a whole, is that all of this back and forth in these 3 episodes, especially when you watch it like as 3 episodes, with all the back and forth, you kind of get to this point where you're like, it feels as if the stakes of who's going to die and who's not going to die, it starts to lessen. And I feel as if a lot of mangaka who do shonen have learned from Kubo to not do that. Because as someone who read chapters week to week in this series, it does get to a point where the chapter ends on a cliffhanger and the character dies or is getting sliced in half and you're like, oh my God, that character's going to die. And then you tune in next week and they just are like, gotcha, healed myself, or gotcha, it was all an illusion. And you're like, oh. And so it kind of like, when Aizen did it the first time, and whenever Aizen does it, it's always a gag. Because you're like, that's his power. You don't know when he's fooling you. And so when it comes out, you're like, he got us, damn it. And it actually always felt like, you did that. Look at you, Aizen. All right. But here, when it's not an illusion, and it's just something else. Like the part of Korinji's bloodbath fixing Oetsu, that was great. That's genius. That's what the world building. But whenever it's like, oh, I fooled you, it was actually this. I'm like, when it's Aizen, it's cool because that's his ability. When it's everybody else, it's like, okay, now you're doing it over. You're doing it a little too much. And it takes away from the stakes of a character legit dying because you're like, well, this person got brought back, so why can't you bring this other person back? So, I felt like some of the battling, I love all the added content. When we get to her Bankai, amazing. But I felt like some of like the back and forth of, oh, they're dead. No, actually, we're not dead. But now we're dead. But no, you're not dead. Like that back and forth, it does take away from some of the stakes of watching because you're just like, oh, well, they're going to be fine. But again, yeah, I do love all of the added scenes, especially like the part about cutting the names. This happens later in these chapters, but we're going to get back to it. Your sword swing becomes gentle. Oetsu's just so creepy in his power. Yeah, like that right there, where he starts to look like an Oni with his face getting like bright red. I want to go back to it. Yeah, that there, as the leader of the Soul Reapers that you loathe. He is terrifying, legitimately. Okay, so, I had forgotten about this scene until we got to it. Which, in the manga, yes, Giselle, from an angle at the beginning, looks like Giselle is basically about to, for lack of better words, eat Bambi out. Which kind of does. love Giselle. I love Giselle. One of my favorite Stern Ritter abilities. She's so great. She has this dark, sadistic side to her that I'm like her bashing Bambi's head against the rock as a zombie so she can drink her blood and then being all masochistic and yandere about it. She's freaking yandere, for sure. Mayuri is Arrow Ace. We all know that. But Giselle is yandere as F. And is a legit yandere character. And I approve of it. But it is so disturbing. And I like that little Tato comes out and she's like, oh, hey, you're alive. Neat. Little Tato's like, oh, hey, you're not dead. Eating out Bambi. That's cool. Neat. Great. Glad to see it. I just ate Pepe, so can't really say too much. But, okay, so there is this one scene, though, that is cut from the manga that I'm like, I wish they would have animated it. And I'm kind of mad that they didn't. And until I was watching the scene, I was like, oh my God, they cut it, didn't they? And then when I looked at the manga before starting this discussion, I'm like, they freaking cut it. So in this scene, what we get is that as Lil Tato and Giselle are talking right before the Ashvalin happens, they're like, oh, Pepe tasted like shit. And they're like, Minnie and Candy. The enemy got Candy. And Pepe took control of Minnie, and so I took her out. But she shouldn't be dead, though. So, until His Majesty, do you think he'll really come back? In the anime, Osho's battle with Yuvok is going on. And Yuvok's like, and because Osho's like, you're going to repent for all eternity and you're going to, like, lose this battle. And then that's when Yuvok starts this, basically saying this ritual. And now, in the anime, he goes through like silver emblems, ashen meadows, circular path, buried in light, like all this stuff. Eye of Agate, tongue of gold, skull cap, coffin of a Dionysus. So like he says all these things. The object we raise is your heart. And that's how he performs Ashwalin. So in the anime, Uryu's knocked out, which in the manga we don't even see Uryu. He's not even present in the manga. But he says Ashvalin. Now, I think it's a slight disservice. I'm just going to point this out here. Uryu's knocked out when this starts. In the manga, he's not even present. But this is essentially the act that killed his mother. The fact that we don't get much reaction from him at all, I feel is a travesty. Again, the manga and the anime are playing Uryu so close to the vest because it's this, is he betraying everybody? Is he not betraying everybody? That old chestnut that they don't want to show his reaction because that would give it away to the audience. But I feel like at this point, we all kind of know what his ultimate objective is. And so it felt like such a wasted opportunity. And I wish we could have seen it, especially with the history of it all. So anyway, this is shown. They show us like, what is this light as it's coming down and it lands on the Quincy's and starts absorbing them. And Lil Tato like ducks Giselle out of the way. And they're like, is it taking our powers? What the hell is that? And Mayuri's like, oh, what's this? Reishi. It's the power in their souls that's being sucked up. And then Candy and Minnie, they get sucked up in this moment as well. But where is it? I want to find them on here. They're like, what is this? As everybody's getting sucked up. In the manga, the old man, Robert Accutrone, who I've been calling Light Yagami's dad, he is Stern Ritter the N. The N for not in this story anymore. He shows up and they're like, what's the big idea, Accutrone? He's like, did you know His Majesty has gone above? And she's like, yes. And he's like, he did not take us with him. And so he kind of explains what's about to happen. He's like, he did not take us with him. There's so much tension in this moment that is built up where he's like, he didn't take us with him. And Lil Toto is like, well, yeah, we're just going to stay and fight till he comes back down. And he's like, don't you see? And there's such a tension when he says, don't you see? And this part here, and he's like, Do you not understand? It is over for us. And that expression is so damn good. And she's like, what? And he's like, we have been deemed unnecessary for the coming battle. You newcomers do not know His Majesty's terror. The Stern Ritters exist for His Majesty. His Majesty despises lies. There are no lies in his existence. Stern Ritters that are deemed unnecessary are food for the consecration or the Ashwaulen. So, whatever those lies are, we don't know. But this part here, one of the beams comes down and just sucks him dry. Like, in the moment. And it's so badass and terrifying. And I'm like, what? They couldn't animate this, Perot? This is so crazy. Like, there's such tension there. And that's what gets little Toto to grab Giselle and move her out of the way because of what happens to him. And then she's like, what are we, Your Majesty? What are we to you? And that's when he's like, oh, you're comrades. So the hypocrisy of, I like Basby's like, Your Majesty, is this your way of doing things? Yeah, Basby's pissed. He's like, you all are comrades. And Giselle's like, well, I won't die, okay? I won't die, Bambi, I promise. Oh my God, Giselle. She's like, I'm not gonna die here. I love Lil Tato and Basby. I love both of them. And they're like, we ain't dying here. I freaking love it. Yep. He's like, we help one another. We come back and move forward. And he's like, is this your way of doing things? I feel like there's a great shot here of Basby getting pissed because he's like, why is this happening? And Ruki and Renji are like, dude, bro, we could be friends if you want. Like, if you want to be friends with us, we'll totally help you out, dude. Like, we're not that savage. And I love Lototo and him are like, I'm not dying here. Yes, not like this. Meanwhile, Byakuya is like, what is that? So, Shunsui says, oh, Kikiba, and now I'm going to leave the barracks. It's not the Sarate that's in danger. It's the Soul Palace. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great scene, but I wish we would have gotten that with old Light Yagami's dad. That would have been pretty cool. So, as he does this, if you notice, there is a reason why, as this is all going on, there's a reason why the ones who get the wings and the special Ashwaulen powers are the four main guys. And then just Uryu and Hirschfeld are just standing there because that's what happens in the manga. They just stand there. Like, they're just there. He's like, it's the consecration, the redistribution of power. Those who die use it. The power of unnecessary quincies that are distributed to those who do receive it. It's one of His Majesty's powers. In the manga, Hirschfeld is saying all of this to Oetsu. And it makes sense because Hirschfeld is a Quincy. He knows all of that. But if you notice in the manga, Uryu is not really around when he's saying all of that in the moment. He's not saying all that because, again, Uryu would be really pissed because his mom died because of this. But the manga completely leaves him out. Leaves Uryu out intentionally so that you can't see that. Here he's shown, and it's weird because he doesn't do anything. And you're like, shouldn't you be reacting to this power that's like pretty integral to your childhood trauma? So, but anyway. And that's kind of Hirschfeld's hypocrisy, is that he's out here being like, well, I'm holier than thou, but yet he's killing all these people to benefit himself. And by benefiting himself, it's empowering the ones he's deemed as worthy. And it's like, that's a problem. So the fight with Osho is actually pretty scattered. They've added a lot of content to it, but it is pretty scattered in the sense that we don't get to see as much of it as maybe we would normally in the manga. Oh God, and that's the end of the episode. Wow, we're already getting to... Oh, the after credit scene, yes. So in the after credit scene, that's when Shunsui just bebopping around, just making his way downtown, walking fast, faces passing homebound. He's like, everything's been destroyed. These structures belong to them now, don't they? If we ever do drive the enemy out, will the structures from the Sarate return? Will they be broken or will they be back to the way they used to? I hope they're back to the way they used to. Wouldn't you agree, Ukitake? Him showing up with all the bandages around him is concerning. Obviously, Ukitake is always sick. He's always sickly. That's like part of his... He's like one of the most underused captains in the entire series because he's always sick for reasons that we'll get into soon enough. But he's like, I don't know. If they're broken, we'll just fix them. Seems like you allowed infiltration into the Soul Palace. The divine vow, Kamikake, was in anticipation of that. It appears it was successful. So there's this ominous soul eater looking thing coming out from his shadow. Yep, I'm not happy about that. We're not happy about that at all. We're going to talk about that soon enough. I'm not happy about it because Shunsui's not happy about it because Shunsui's one of my favorites. And, like, he's in my top 10. And, like, him being sad makes me sad. I'm like, no. And Ukitake is, like, my big ship with him. Ship him with a lot of people. Ship him with Lisa. Ship him with Nanao. Although him and Nanao are, like, father-daughter. So it's like, eh. But ship him with Stark. Ship him with Askin. Ship him with Hoshfall. Ship him with everybody. But I'm like... Ukitake is his ultimate ship for me. And for him to just be like, well, I'll see you later. Take care of yourself. And he's like, well, where are you going, Karaku? Like, calling him on a first name freaking basis. Does he say it in here? He's like, where are you going? And he says, okay, in the anime, he says, I'm going to go grab a drink. In the manga, he says, I'm going to go to, and then it cuts to room 46. Room 46? What's room 46, you may ask? We're going to find out, I guess, but mysterious. So then we have episode 26, which is just titled Black, which refers to Osho's powers. And I realize I've already talked an hour, but we need to get into this. So a lot of what was set up at the beginning of last episode is just now getting talked about in this. And so a lot of the things we still saw are just now happening in the manga. And he's like, well, I may just have to kill you. You leave me no choice. And then he looks freaking scary. Don't like any of that. Nope. Not one bit. Yeah. And so everything exists for me. The Soul King is no exception. Yeah, about that. I do like this shot here of Osho being like, you're not getting to my boo. So, then we got the OP. That OP is one of my favorites. My other favorite OPs in Bleach are Rambu no Melody, Shoujo S, Change, basically from the latter parts of it. Although, the one OP that is, I think it's Ichihime, it's that one that I think is the third OP. It's so freaking good. It's around the time that Ichigo fought Byakuya. So freaking good. But yeah. I might have to rank the OPs at some point. But yeah, so anyway, while all this is going on, we backtrack. That's when all that happens. We backtrack. Is this all happening in there? Yes. Yeah, I think that's so. So all this stuff here has happened before in the manga. Or the stuff there of him lining up in a single file line. That stuff, this is kind of anime additions to the series. But freaking all the rest of this is anime original, which is kind of crazy. All the stuff showing the four of them getting ready to fight. And then everything with her in this entire episode is anime original. And I'm freaking obsessed with it. I love it. It kind of feels like, it does feel like it's anime original in that it doesn't quite flow like the manga would, as you would expect. But it's all really well done. Like, I love Askin versus Korinji in this as being the bad matchup. And then again, we go here, all the Quincy's for your sake. You would lose face to the Quincy's. And then we get his ability there. And then, again, we've already been cutting through that. Just, oh, that's so creepy. Nope, not at all. Yeah, it's interesting what the anime has added on top of this, because in the volume, it's mainly just Yuvok versus Osho. That's the big part of it. Because he makes the statement here, everything in this world is mine to take. And this is the Masters this episode. So the chapter title 607, which we only have 2 more chapters until we're literally where I have to stop before we get to core 3, is, I think that says a lot about Yuvok. He's like, I can give everything back to myself. He's like, I can, which this is a great shot of him. This page, Kubo does a good job of illustrating Osho versus Yuvok, and I don't want to take away from that. But again, talking about Yuvok, you know, the Soul King just gives to people. He's being benevolent. He's very Christ-like. And Yuvok's like, well, I can give, but I can also take back for myself. And it's like, interesting. So yeah, we get their battle there. A lot of it's been added. A lot, like the stuff with him getting attacked by the Blood and him attacking with the Soul King's arm again. That all, I think, was added from the manga. And so, but it's just interesting to see Osho and Yuvok battle when they are very similar characters in that they both have some shadiness to them. Meanwhile, while all this is going on and they are having this battle against one another, this stuff with her is all added. Her Bankai is completely added. I freaking love it. I love it so much. If you have not seen Puelai Magica Madoka Magica, if you have not seen that series, I know the name sounds crazy. You need to watch it. When you're done with this, go watch it. Go watch it right now. It's 12 episodes. It will change your life. And there's a movie that goes along with it. Also, that shot of Askin and Korinji, beautiful. Love them. They look amazing there. But, like, this entire battle right here is all added. It is all anime original. And I like it. I enjoy it. But does it seem a little bit repetitive over the course of 3 episodes for them to be battling back and forth like this? A little bit. I guess it's your cup of tea. I feel as if the I killed you, no I'm alive, now I killed you, no I'm alive. Like, I kind of get a little bit exhausted with it after a while. But Senjaku's Bankai, oh girl. Oh y'all. Absolutely amazing. And this part here, where they all decide to kill themselves to let her have Bankai, that's new. Unless it happens later on in future volumes and we just haven't seen it. That's new. I don't recall her Bankai ever being established unless it's done way later and we're just not to it yet. But I love the excuse that they're like, we basically become Voltron and pour all of our lives into her, into one of us, because the entire world would crumble if we all use our Bankai at the same time. That's insane. Also, makes the most sense to use hers because Korinji's mainly a healer. Hikifune mainly uses things to create other things. And he's a swords master. So, like, what would their Bankai be in comparison? She, with the weaving, incredible. Absolutely incredible. I also love, I said it during the reaction, but Uryu always gets stuck with Squad 12. Uryu gets stuck with Squad 12. The Ishidas cannot escape Squad 12's antics. But all this is amazing. What I meant to say is if you've watched Puella Magi Madoka Magica, this entire Bankai with the CGI and everything coming out of it, this is straight up from that series. The aesthetic is, this is something I would see in that series. And I mean that in the best way possible. She looks incredible. Yep. Shatatsu Karagara Shigara Minatsuji. Bless you. She looks so good. I would want to make her the cover. Can I do that? Meanwhile, Shunsui's just like, hell no. He's like, hell no. Shunsui's like, I don't like y'all doing things up in the heavens. Personally not a fan. Seems like it could put everyone else in danger. Don't ask why. Then I love that Ishin's like, what? What's going on? Ryukin, get off your ass and go do something. Help your son. But yeah, this was such a badass Bankai. I loved this. This was so good. The rattle. There's something weird about Squad 12 and like the connection with like children and things, because you have like Urahara's candy shop. You have Mayuri and his Shikai looking like a big fat baby caterpillar. Then you have this. It's kind of crazy. It's so interesting to me that they're all kind of have that. I love the kaleidoscope here. Yeah, all this is new. It's so well done. I loved all of them being in the tapestry. Now, of course, the question is, they're all trapped in these tapestry, like asking it's the Iron Maiden technique. This guy gets wrapped up in like his own cloth of his own making. And then you have the Valkyrie gets frozen, should decapitate him, but you're not going to do it. Then they do Hoshvalt burning in the fires when he is clearly having a sexual relationship with Bosby, or needs to be having a sexual relationship with Bosby. Don't think I didn't notice, show. Oh my god. And then Uryu just gets put to sleep. It's like, go to bed. Go to bed, that's it. You go get some like sand in your eyes, and that's it. That's all you get. Because nothing happens to him in the manga at this point, which is, I remember reading the manga and being kind of frustrated because we didn't get anything out of Uryu, and it's like, well, what is he doing there? And I remember a lot of people were like, Uryu and Hoshvalt are just standing there while this goes down. But, I'll give Kubo a little grace in that, at least they had something happen to them. Now, my thing with adding all of this extra in there is, how are you going to advance the plot? Because we know, if you're a manga reader, you're like, okay, this is really cool and all, but how do they get out of it? Because I know they get out of it because things happen later on. So how are we going to do this? What's going to happen? So I'm curious to see. I don't remember, so I'm curious to see what they do with this down the road. I'm very curious about it. But love that transition from her and the red, and all of them are trapped in the tapestries. So freaking cool. And that transition from that to just Yuvok with like his eyes. Love it. So yeah, and then the blue flame with Osho. My power is black. Once I unleash Ichimonji. Which freaking crazy. Yep. You would lose face if you crushed. Yeah, so he does the Iron Will thing. And then he says, you lowly human. Which again, both of them are pretty self-righteous. A little bit. Ichimonji, the kanji for one. The originator, paint it black. What's interesting is that it's even shows like the black rising up out of the creek and everything. Isn't that crazy? Not sure. Him and Yuvok have got some similar abilities. I'm just saying. It's awfully thick. Is it a blade or is it a brush? Blacker than black. He's like, that sword has no name. Did you actually kill me with those things? Oof. Once I unleash it, Soul Reapers, Quincy, and the dead and the living, all the black in this world becomes mine. See, I'm like, just the two of them both taking things from others. They're not so different, you and I. And it's just like further establishing that they're not so different, the two of them. Intriguing, isn't it? So chapter 609 is, he's like, I'll give you a name. He says, Shunichi True Blade and Shirafude White Brush. We can etch a few names on whatever is painted over by Ichimonji. And he's like, Black Ant. The one who used to be Uyubak. Which he's the A. Ant starts with an A, so that's interesting. The difference in our powers. Bear the lives. He's like, the difference, or would this be the end of your fate? Bear the lives of the Soul Reapers you've killed and be crushed to death like the black ant that you are. And that's where basically we have to stop in terms of the manga, because the anime ends up stopping around that point, which is towards the end of volume 67, but not quite the end of volume 67. But, yeah. Yep, I never imagined. And that's where it ends. And they had 6 minutes left. They could have finished the chapter. They could have done that. They could have done that, y'all. I'm bamboozled that they didn't. I am mind blown that they didn't. Absolutely insane. I'm like, are you all, how did you feel with this ending? If you're a manga reader, how did you feel with the ending there and not finishing out the chapter? I would have been so mad. I'm so mad that I get to start Core 3 next week, because I would have been like, what? But it's one of those situations where I'm like, okay, I'll give benefit of the doubt. I don't know what else they're going to add. So maybe they're going to add something for next week. I don't know how that's going to work. So that's going to be interesting to see what goes down. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, the part that makes me the most mad is that I don't like Cone, and the stuff they added is just stuff that was cut from the manga because it should have been cut from the manga. And we talked about that in weeks past, and I'm like, oh my God, why? We just had her, like, especially the stuff where they talk about, you know, going to get their new clothing made, and that means that they'll have to go back. And like Rukia talking about being stripped naked, and Renji talking about being stripped naked, like, yeah, to Shutara, like, girl, we just saw how badass Shutara is. And, oh, it's Senjumaru. Well, I've been calling her Senjaku. Who cares? Y'all know I'm talking about Shutara. But, like, we just got through talking about how badass Shutara is, and now we had this at the very end. No, that's not more like it, Cone. Cannot stand Cone. I am so curious to know how you all felt about that, because that's just wild to me. Also, I've talked for an hour and a half about these 3 episodes, but that was very much worth it. I love all the added material that they've given us. The stuff with Shutara's Bankai, incredible. So good. So glad we got to see it. I love it. I love it so much. I love the weaving. I love the detail. I love the symbolism. I love the mechanics of it. It's so great. The only thing is, it's so freaking badass and OP. You know they're going to break out of it, but then that's going to take away from it. So it's like, Kubo giveth and Kubo taketh away. Anyway, I am glad that we have these 2 volumes wrapped up. We're going to keep volume 67 on lock. 6-7, hate it. For next week. But we're going to be looking at the next 2 opening episodes of Core 3, and I'm excited to get to those. So with that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed this reaction and discussion. It's been a doozy. I would love to know your thoughts down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon, y'all, with more of Bleach 1000 Year Blood War arc. And I'll see you then.